Alright, this right here is called your primer bulb. What this will do when you push it is it will lower this float right here, and it'll allow more gas in through here, and it'll also push a little bit of gas in there so that you're able to start your bike. I'd press this a few times if your bike's been sitting for a while. Generally though, I don't have to push this button. This right here is your idle adjustment screw. Now what this does is when you're screwing this in, you're going to have a higher idle. So your engine's going to rev a lot higher if you start screwing this inwards. So what that'll do is when you're screwing that in, it'll start raising this little slide housing in here, allowing more gas and air to flow through it. Now if you don't want a very high idle or high RPMs, you want to start unscrewing this, and what that'll do is that'll lower it. So if you guys need to adjust your idle, this would be right here. What happens when you hit this primer button right here? Little hole, that's where the slide needle goes into. And watch this hole here and watch that hole down there when I start pumping this primer button. You see that? So you're allowing more gas into the intake right here by hitting this primer button. And what this primer button does is when you're pushing it down, you're pushing this float down, which is pushing the nail or the needle right here down and allowing more fuel. Here's your clutch right here. What this does is when this is in the outward position, so you'll pull this in to disengage the engine from the bike and you'll be able to idle. When you pop the clutch, which is when you do this, that engages the engine. This is your throttle right here on this side. If you need to stop the bike, or rather kill the engine off, here's your kill switch button, just hit that. Or what I do is this is your choke lever right here. I don't know if you can see that. This little lever right here is the choke lever. This is all the way down when you're operating your bike. And so what I do is I just flip this all the way up, and that'll also turn the engine off. Now this is a pedal assist bike. So when you start riding this bike, you're going to have to pedal up to speed. So if you go 1, 2, see those parking lines there? I'd say about 6 lines out, pedal your bike up to speed to about a light jog, and then go ahead and release this lever, and then your bike should turn over and start, and then you're able to use this throttle here and begin to use your engine to move the bike. And every time you come to a stop, you'll need to pull this lever in to disengage the engine and use your brakes. And every time you want to start again, you need to start pedaling first. Even though the engine's on, start pedaling first and then let this clutch lever out. If you don't do that, you just say you're at a stop and you just let this out, then your bike's going to stall. It's going to jump forward a little bit and then it'll just stall. And then every time after you turn the engine off, what you want to do is you want to wait about 10 minutes, around 10 minutes or so, before you start this engine up again. Oh, and this right here, if you notice, this clutch lever is right over the top of the front brake lever. You can get dual, a combined brake lever, so where your front and your rear brake is combined into one lever, and people generally put that on the right side, so you don't have to do so much handwork to hit your brakes. So this is what I do. Every time I want to come to a stop, I'll pull this clutch lever in and then grab the front brake like that. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but after a while doing it, it's just like comes pretty natural. So just squeeze it like that, pull that in. So the first thing we'll do, step 1, you want to make sure that this petcock is facing in line with the fuel line there. Not all bikes have a petcock at the carburetor. Usually with the stock ones you just have the one right here at the gas tank. The next thing you want to do is turn this lever up right here towards the line, And this is the choke lever right here. This needs to be facing almost all the way up. I put it down just a little bit when I initially start my bike, and so I'll let the bike idle for about 10-15 seconds, and then after the bike warms up a little bit, I'll go ahead and push this lever all the way down. So we'll go ahead and push this down just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my pocket, and we'll go ahead and start this bike up. Now on hills, you want to pedal the bike to help the engine up steep hills. Pull the clutch lever in. And after you pedal about this much, go ahead and let that clutch lever out and continue to pedal until your bike fires up. After your bike fires up, pull that clutch lever in and let the bike idle just for a few, about 10 seconds. So I just let it idle just for a little bit. After it warms up, just go ahead and push that choke lever all the way down. And it might idle a little high at first, but then it'll balance out as the bike warms up. So then we're going to take off. And you'll make sure that you pedal before letting that clutch out again. And once you get up to speed, go ahead and let it out and use the gas a little bit. Just feather the throttle. And when you want to come to a stop, let off the gas and pull the clutch lever in. And grab that brake. Pedal up the speed again before you take off. Let the clutch out. Give it a little bit of gas. Okay, we're going to come to a stop, so you let off the gas and pull the clutch lever in. So while you're using the throttle, pedal yourself up the hill while you're using the engine to help you up. So go ahead and pedal up the speed again. Let the clutch out, give it some gas. Help yourself pedal up the hill while using the gas. And you can clear these hills pretty fast. Alright, that's it. Just pull this lever up.
That was a down swept pipe made to go down, but I would have had to remove the kickstand, which I wasn't willing to do. And so I routed the pipe up, and then I made this heat shield.
And you say you've cleared this hill pretty well with all the mods.
I just barely have to give it any gas and I can accelerate up it. If I were to open it up, I would just accelerate up this hill.
It's a pretty nice bike. You can get these CDIs online. There's a couple of places. There's eBay, of course. I'll put a link here later on these pill bottle CDIs. But there you go. That's one nice bike. One thing I forgot to mention here in the video is when you're done riding your bike, always make sure you turn the gas line. Turn this petcock to the off position. Put this down and turn this off as well.